Hi, good morning, you intelligent individuals. Today we're going to go over lesson 5-3, which is going to cover slope. So hit pause right now and copy down the first part of those notes. All right, now that you have these copied down, let's define what slope is. Well, first of all, the letter that we use for slope is the letter M. S was already taken. And what is slope? Well, slope is the directions. So it's what we call the rise, which is up and down, over the run, which is side to side. That's why I have these two little arrows. So the rise is up and down, and the run is side to side. But on a graph, remember, the axis that goes up and down is the y, so it's the y's over the x's, because the x-axis goes side to side. So it's y over x, and just a little quick point is slope, even though it has x's and y's and it uses two numbers, it is not a point. Okay, it's not a point on a graph. That's an ordered pair. So there is a difference between this and that. Now, there are four types of slope. So we have positive slope, negative slope. If it's a flat line or a horizontal line, it's called zero slope. You can put 0. But if it's a vertical line or up and down, it's called undefined or no slope. No slope is not the same as 0, and a lot of people mess this up. Now the question is let's look at our negative slope. Well, how do you know if it's negative? I mean, if I start here, it goes up. If I start there, I go down. This is how, and hopefully you already drew this little eyeball, or that's what this is supposed to be. As you look at a graph or a coordinate plane from the left to the right. So when you look at it this way, you can tell that this one's going up. You come over here, this one's going down. This one's still flat. This one is still horizontal. All right, so make sure that you understand that the position of the slope depends on how we look at it. We always look at it from the left side for positive, negative, 0, and undefined. All right, so moving on to our notes is, hit pause and go ahead and copy this down. I'll give you just a few seconds. Make sure that you have a nice little graph. I just used it on the line. Alright, so you can see that I added a line to our graph. So if you need to, hit pause again and copy this down. Just as a reminder, since I had to handwrite this point is at -3, right? 1, 2, 3. It's negative on the x-axis, up 2. So it should be at -3, 2. And this dot happens to be at 1, 2, 3, over, and then down 3. So make sure that you are on your graph, you kind of have these roughly in the same spot at -3, 2 and 3, -3. All right? So make sure that this is copied down, and we're not actually going to use these numbers right now. We're just going to use the line to show how easy that this is. All right, so for rise over run, or finding the slope from a graph, all I have to do is start from the point that's on the left, and I'm going to count down. So count with me. So a little bit harder on these graphs. We go 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5. Okay, you see how I'm level with this dot right here? Is I went down 3 spaces. Now I'm going to go over from this 3 and count over 1, 2, 3, right? 4, 5, and 6. So I went down 5. So I'm going to put down that. Down 5. So I went down 5. And I'll zoom up just a little bit on this. All right. So I went down 5 spaces. So when you go down 5, down 5 is basically the same thing as -5, right? And that was my up and down. That was my rise. Even though we went down, it counts. Now when I got here and I went over 6 spaces, right? And that's my run. So my run was 6. So that's going to look like 5 over 6. So I went down 5 spaces over 6. So what is my slope? Literally my slope is that fraction. That's down 5 over 6. Now it doesn't matter which way you do this. You just have to understand what's going on. I could have counted over first. I could have went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just know that when you count over, that it's the run. So it always has to go on the bottom, right? That's why it's rise over run. So you can see that a little bit better, right? So anything that goes up or down has to go on the top. And it doesn't matter which one you put first, just make sure, or which one you count first, just make sure where you place them is correct. And I'll do one more graph. So hit pause if you need to, and copy all that down. All right, so here is example 2. Again, I just made a second little graph on my paper. The only reason I'm putting the coordinates there so that you know where the points are at. We're not going to be using them. But on this time, I did highlight, this one says rise because I'm going from here up to the top, and then I'm going to run over. And usually when you want to find slope, always start again from the left side. So start over here. That's our point of, that's how we look at this. So always start here, and then you can either go down or up, or you can go, but I decided to go up and over. So make sure that you copy that down real quick, and then hit continue. All right, so as we said, we have to find the slope. So slope is the letter M. That's our representation. And remember, it's always the rise over run. So rise over the run, which is basically up and down, over side to side. I know I keep repeating myself, but it's very important. So we have, so how far did I go up? Well, I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this time I went up 5 spaces. So up 5. Now this time it means it's a positive 5, and that was my rise. Right, rise up. So for my slope, the 5 is going to go on the top. And then my run over, I'm going to run over, let's see, starting here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Because this is at right. So we started back here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I ran over 4, and that goes on the bottom. So the slope for this one is 5 over 4. So you see how 5 over 4 isn't a point, it's our direction. It tells us how steep this is. Now, here's the other thing I want to make a point of. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So if you need to, hit pause right now. Copy this down. Make sure you understand this. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom out. And I just want to show you something. On this graph, remember I said this is a negative slope? Well, look at the numbers. Doesn't that have a negative number on it? So the slope number should match your slope. That says it's going down. That should be negative. This one has a positive slope. Well, look at this one. It's 5 over 4. Okay? So, and it's positive. It's going up. So both of these numbers are positive. That is a quick check. That's how I know if you have the right sign on your slope. All right, so we're going to continue on. All right, so the second way of finding slope is from 2 points. But you're going to have to wait and watch part 2 of the slope video. So have a math-tastic day, and I'll see you very soon in slope part 2.